Here on the Sports Cubicle, we like to have a good time. We like to enjoy our conversations with friends about sports. But like we do every single episode, we make sure that we're going to talk fun and we're going to enjoy these things, these crazy fun games that kids play, that adults get paid a lot of money and billionaires get paid even more millions of dollars to do. We got to talk about real stuff. And the story that broke out from the Washington Post, and it has now hit the news cycle here in Chicago. This is from the Chicago Tribune. Former Chicago Red Stars coach Rory Dames has been accused of misconduct stretching back decades when he was a youth team coach, well before he joined the National Women's Soccer League team, according to report, that team being the Chicago Red Stars. The accusations, which included verbal and emotional abuse and other inappropriate behavior, were detailed by the Washington Post in a story earlier on this week. An elite youth player who was not named by the Post, also claimed that Dames groomed her for a sexual encounter once she turned 18. Dames, who also coached at St. Viator High School, was investigated by police in Arlington Heights in 1998 after a former player said he inappropriately touched her when she was underage. The investigation was dropped because no formal complaint was filed. A lawyer for Dames denied the accusation leveled in the Post story. Quote, Mr. Dames has a reputation as an excellent soccer coach over 25 years of coaching thousands of soccer players. With the exception of a few players disgruntled for one reason or another, the vast majority of players have thanked Mr. Dames for investing in them as players, attorney Susan Bogart said. Dames was one of 5 NWSL coaches who stepped down or were fired last season for misconduct. It doesn't matter the sport, the institute, whatever it is, people in power do despicable things, or at least it seems like a lot of people with power do despicable things. Paulie, your thoughts on this disgusting story?
Yeah, it just shows that it doesn't matter the level. There's always this type of power imbalance happening, and these predatory behaviors from people in positions of power. And I thought I had heard after, the Red Stars lost the championship and we kept an eye on it here at the Sports Cubicle. I knew that they got rid of their coach, but I didn't know the reasoning. And I'm hearing that there are other coaches where there's similar situations going on. But then to dig up in his past, it's, this is repetitive behavior from someone that's been looked to as a supposed to be an influencing figure and a responsible figure, wherever he goes, whether it's on the youth level, the educational level, and, of course, in the professional level as well. So it's unfortunate. And I really hope that, there's steps being made to try and prevent people like this from being hired, in the future here in Chicago and elsewhere. But at the same time, I just, I don't know how much you can do, because I guess from this story, Dames was never accused of it, or he was accused, but he was never brought up on charges. So, I mean, that's really hard because it's, now you're going back to how much time and he said, she said, and how that's going to dictate, who's going to hire someone or not hire someone based on that. So, it's hard, but it's unfortunate that we keep seeing this no matter what the sport is or what the level is. This just happens at various levels.
Dev, you hear this story. What do you think about it?
Well, let's see. We talked about this with the Kyle Beach and the Blackhawks thing. It's like, one, why the hell was this happening? Why? Not so much why is it, I'm glad that it's coming out now, but it's like, why was it still happening? And more importantly, what are we going to do to fix this at this point? Because it's like right now, it's like, okay, we're going to fire the coach. Great. How do we know the next person isn't going to do the same sort of crap? Like Paul's saying, there's scummy people out there. And this is just, it's disgusting and unacceptable here. And, it's kind of like the point where it's like, Paul, you're a parent here. I'm assuming you put your kids on a sport for them to have fun, but also for them to kind of team build and have trust and kind of, a safe space, so to speak, as our boss would call it with putting your team in the sports here. But like, how do you feel, Paul? I want to go to Paul here. You're the parent here. You have like, Soren, you put him on a team, like a baseball team. That's a place where I assume he'd like him to grow and also feel safe here. It's like, do you as a parent feel safe, like leaving your kid with someone in a sport world where it's like, you don't know what the hell they can do now, seeing stories like this keep coming about?
Yeah. And it's, I think even within that, it kind of varies because, there's like, for probably what Soren would be in, out here, you can kind of see the practices, see the games. You're not away from him too much. But I think probably in this situation where on like a high school practice field where I'm not allowed to be there, or, what's going on in a high school locker room, or what's going on, at a professional locker room, or what's going on at a sports camp, things like that, or you leave someone, you leave your child in the trust of somebody and you think you know them, but then you don't know really what's going on when you're not there. So yeah, as a parent, it makes me fearful and guarded, of course, in this situation, because I think the higher you move up in this world of athleticism and sports, you see, that like you have to donate so much time and money towards it. And the parent isn't always seeing what's going on behind the scenes, or doesn't really know, the truth behind who these people are, just because it's, happening to one kid doesn't mean all of the kids are aware of it. So there's that too, of like, I think even the attorney for Dames was saying how, he's reached so many different players and has been such an influential figure to all these different soccer players over the years that they look up to him. And really that, these players probably think of them, highly because their experiences were just fine. But then you have, the people that are bringing up the accusations, their situations. And that's all it takes is that one or two. And you just hope that it's not your loved one, but it's still awful that it's happening to somebody.
I mean, after we lived in a world with Jerry Sandusky, I don't think we can ever just assume just because they have the exterior of a great person, a nice person, a God-fearing person, a religious person. That's a dangerous road. And what's also dangerous is giving somebody full autonomy over things. And that's what happens with a lot of these coaches, where they earn respect or they get adulations because they win, and then they can do whatever they want unchecked. And we as adults, we as a society, we as fans need to do a better job of being vigilant and being aware. And we have to listen. If somebody's telling you something, listen to them, because nobody wants to make this up. Nobody wants to go through this. And I think in a lot of cases, it's just communication and lack thereof, and things falling through the crack, and the old, no, he's a good person. But we'll be covering the story if anything else breaks out. It is Devin Tingle. It's Paul Chivari. I'm Mike Mercado. Let us know your thoughts on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV.